welcome to the Watch Share Watch Reviews with your host DK. I hope you all had a great Christmas as well and a happy new year. Today we're taking a look at my very first sponsored content watch. So I haven't gotten any free watches before. This is my very first free watch from the company, and that company is Seestern. So they are part of the Suggest brand as well on AliExpress. They also sell through their own website. I do happen to know the brand ambassador for them, Pascal. He's one of the people behind the Wicked Watch Company. In fact, I believe he's the only person behind the Wicked Watch Company. Review of which will be somewhere around here as well. So big thank you to Pascal for sending this one in for review. Just because it's sponsored content though doesn't mean it gets a free ride. As always, I will be 100% honest, thorough and transparent about my feelings for this one. So let's take a look at their very first watch to market, their Doxa Homage, I believe. It's one of the Doxas anyway, I don't remember exactly which one it is. I'll pop it on screen now. There you go. Let's not waste any more time, let's get to it. So let's take a look at this one. As I said, I do get it for free, I don't have to send it back, and they don't have any influence over the review. So the case inside is the one you've seen from Kronos, San Martin, Steeldive, Dive, a bunch of others. It's this black plastic pelican style case with the snaps on it with the Seestern sticker. You pretty much swap those out for Kronos and everything else. Hopefully they'll come up with their own packaging soon enough. Inside you get the watch itself. I've gone for a yellow version, and it is as an homage, I say, of the Doxa Sub 300. You get spare links. I've taken 5 out to fit my 7-inch wrist, or just under 7-inch wrist. You've got your leaflet or your booklet for the instructions. You've got a signed international warranty card, which is not just for me. I believe they are all signed and stamped, which is a nice touch because you don't often get that with AliExpress brands. And a booklet, but who really cares about the booklet? And something I almost forgot about before I was doing this review is this little bracelet tool. Always helpful. Dimensions across the actual dial, 38.5mm, 44mm at that unusually shaped case, 45.5mm at that crown. Lug tip to lug tip is 45mm with female end links, meaning that this one drops nicely down into the wrist and has that same sort of Seiko trick of looking a lot or wearing a lot smaller than it actually looks. You've got a lug width of 20mm if you don't fancy that bracelet, tapering down to 17.8mm at that clasp. Thickness on this one is 13.5mm. However, there is a version 2 that has been reduced down. I believe it's down to 12.8. And with all links included, it is 171 grams. However, 5 links removed from my 7-inch wrist, it is just 155 grams. Specs on this one, it is of course all 316L stainless steel case, crown, bezel and the bracelet. You get a high polished crown and case sides, brushed upper lugs and a brushed bezel. So you can see there you get a signed crown, it is high polish, and you've got your brushed there on the lugs. You've got brushed on the side of the bracelet as well, and high polish mid links on that beads of rice bracelet. It is a 120 click stainless steel bezel with no back play. It is a bit light though, I will say that. There is no loom pip as well, which is something that they seem to have carried over from the Doxa model. We'll talk about that a bit later. However, the motion, as I say, is light, but there is zero back play on this one, and it does line up perfectly, which is excellent news for me. Sapphire crystal on this one with clear AR coating. It is completely flat sapphire, which will provide perfect legibility. You're not getting any distortion as the trade-off, but you do get excellent legibility, even with that yellow dial, which I did wonder if when I got it initially would be a problem. There's other dial colours, of course. There's black, there's orange, there's Tiffany blue, there's red, and there is a couple of other ones. I'll throw them on the description below anyway. The bracelet features solid female end links, and it is a true 7-piece beads of rice bracelet with a milled clasp and 4 levels of micro adjust. You can see there, so you should be able to get a nice fit no matter what happens. If we pop this open, it's not a pusher release, it is a, I don't know what you call those, snap release, friction release, stainless steel as you would expect, and it is of course signed with the Seestern logo. It's a push pin bracelet, which is absolutely fine, which is why they provided that tool as well. And you can see there it does not have a diver's adjust. I don't believe the original Doxa has one either. It has a signed screw down crown with the little starfish logo, or Seestern in German, and signed case back with the screw down gives you 200 meters of water resistance. It also shows the specs and the model number, so you can see there SE60S001. automatic movement, we'll get to that in a second. You've got your stainless steel 316, 20 atmospheres, and of course the fact that it is sapphire crystal. You do also have that nice signed case back with it almost looks like a version of the Kanagawa Wave and a little starfish on it. So again, it's a nice touch and it gives the watch a bit more personality than your usual Homage. No guesses for the movement inside, it is the NH35. It beats at 21,800 vibrations per hour, hacking and hand winding. First setting allows you to hand wind it, so unscrew it, hand wind it in the first position. Pull it out once more, allows you to adjust that date wheel at 3 o'clock. Pull it out again, hacking is the second hand stops and allows you to set the time. Under the macro lens, it is not the most spectacular watch to look at in terms of detail. You do have a printed minute track and printed indices all around. However, you get a framed date window at 3 o'clock, which is excellent. You've got your automatic text down there at the 4 o'clock, 200 meters, 660 feet. You've got your very simple indices. You've got your very simple bat on hands as well, and the Seestern name above there at, 10 o'clock. Again, very similar to the Doxa. And if we take a look at it on my 7-inch wrist, set up perfectly for me with 5 links removed, you can see there that bracelet flows down perfectly into the wrist. The clasp is nice on as well. It's very, very comfortable to watch on, even if the case shape does look a bit unusual. It does pay homage to that vintage style of dive watch, of course, with the Doxa being, I believe, one of the first dive watches around. But it's a very, very cool looking piece, especially in yellow. However, if you don't think you've got enough yellow in your life, how about you throw on a silicone strap? I think I picked this one up on eBay. I'll try and find one on AliExpress for you guys. There'll be affiliate links for the watch and the straps down below in the description as always. Again, you don't pay any more for them, but I just get a little bit kickback off AliExpress and it helps me afford to keep the channel going and show you some weird stuff. A big thanks as well again to Pascal and the lads at Seestern. We'll forget about all that though. Let's go back into the straps. I actually really liked this one. This is a black and yellow silicone strap. This one I did get on AliExpress. It's got quick release spring bars on it and I think they're only about 6 or 7 quid. You can get them in a whole bunch of colours, black and yellow, black and red, black and blue, black and green, black and white, basically anything you want, and it just gives that watch something different. However, a throwback to when I was a kid, and this is something I remember having on one of my very first watches when I was about 8 or 9 years old, is this Velcro strap. This one was an eBay purchase. I don't even know if they have these anymore. It does not look any way classy or anything, but it just makes me smile so much because it brings me back, and I actually really like the look of this one. However, if you want to class it up or you want to go really vintage looks, a Milanese mesh is a great option. I don't know why you'd really want to get rid of the bracelet because it is a huge feature of the watch. It's an excellent bracelet and we'll go into that later on. But if you do, the Milanese mesh is a nice touch. It gives you something different to look at. And again, it does wear very, very comfortably. And we're going to round off with just a yellow NATO. This one, again, is an AliExpress one. I'll throw the link down below. It's just, I think if you go with a yellow watch like this, or a really bright colourful watch, you need to lean into it. You need to really, match it up with another colour of the strap. You need to match the colour to the dial, or at least some element of the colour to the dial. And speaking of some colour, if you think there's too much yellow in this video, well then I've got this one. It's a black watch with a, you'll never guess what, yes, a yellow strap. This is an elasticated NATO. I'm trying to remember from the video when I filmed this, it's an elasticated NATO or a Marine Nationale. I think it's an elasticated NATO if I would do a wrist roll, of course, but I probably won't. No, I won't, of course not. Why would I make things harder or easier for myself in post? Lume on this one, you'll take a look now. Let's get into this. So this is a watch from a guy I know loves his lume. Let's see what the lume looks like. It's pretty damn good. So this is the BGW9 style. It's bluer on camera, or it's bluer in person than it is on camera. I'm not sure why that is, but I hope you noticed that there was also a lumed date window. So that is something that you don't see every day, especially on AliExpress style watches. I know they sell these on their website as well, but a lot of people will pick these up on AliExpress, and it is something you don't see in everything. I don't think I've seen it ever on an AliExpress watch. And I'm trying to remember if I've seen it on anything else. I don't even think I've seen these on watches that are 400 or 500 quid. Is it a novelty? Of course it's a novelty, but it's something cool to look at. The lume quality is excellent as well. I always say if it shows up on my camera after 15 minutes, which this does, it's going to be there all night. So you've heard me wax lyrical, and I'm going to continue about that. As I mentioned, where else do you get a loomed date window? I've never seen that before, and I think it's something that's really cool, and it's just a nice touch that they put in. A guy who loves his loom is Pascal, and this is a watch with plenty of loom. Excellent bracelet as well. There's a nice amount of flex in that beads of rice. I do like a beads of rice on a vintage style diver. It flows down perfectly, it integrates well into the case, and it's got drilled lugs as well, if I hadn't mentioned that already, which means you can take it off if you don't fancy it. It's a really excellent piece, and it does wear very nicely. As well, you can see there, it's nice and handy, solid links, solid end links. You've got female end links, you've got a signed milled clasp with 4 levels of micro adjust that does the job absolutely perfectly. So if that's it, is there anything else? Well, even the yellow is extremely legible. I'd say the black is fairly legible as well. They've got a really nice silver one and one they call a tuxedo dial. Those are all excellent. You'll be able to find them all anyway in my links below. You can see there from any angle that flat sapphire with the clear AR coating makes this one legible from any place that you look at it. Things I don't like though, the bezel motion. It's very light, if I'm honest. Wouldn't be my thing normally. I don't normally complain too much about bezels when they line up, but this one, you can do it with one finger, you can do it from any kind of angle. It does line up perfectly, but it's not satisfying to use, if I'm honest, and it didn't give me a whole lot of confidence, especially if I was going to try and dive with it. However, of course, you can't dive with it because it has no loom pip. Now, the Doxa, I believe, also doesn't have a loom pip, which absolutely blows my mind when you pay the amount of money that you do for a Doxa. It's a very strange thing that they've carried over. I wish they'd put in a loom pip. The other thing I don't like, not a huge fan of these clasps. If you're like me and you either have broken nails or you bite your nails, which is a disgusting habit, as we've discussed before, I just prefer these push button clasps. They're a lot easier for me, like this one on my Ratio freediver. I just prefer those push button clasps to the, whatever you call it, friction, snap-on, whatever you want to call it. And yes, I said snap-on, not anything else. The date wheel as well on this one is not centered. However, a lot of these things are going to actually be fixed in version 2. So the date wheel has been fixed, the clasp the date wheel has been fixed, the bezel action has been fixed, and the fact that there is no loom pip has all been fixed. One thing that has not been fixed, because it's a holdover from the Doxa, is that tiny hour hand. You can see there on the screen, if you look back at the loom video I had of this one, there's no way of seeing it. It's a real misstep. I wish they'd put loom all the way to the end of the hour hand, but realistically, if that's all I'm complaining about, we're still doing okay. And the great thing is, most of these have been fixed for version 2, which means that you are getting an even better quality watch than the one I have right now. So guys, there you have it, my review of the Seestern Doxa Homage. It's a really nice watch. It does have a couple of flaws, as we've gone through in the review. Some of them are personal things that I don't really like. I prefer the push button clasp to the sort of pulley open clasp. Not really a fan of those. I do prefer the push button ones. The fact that there's a missing loom pip on version 1 has been corrected with version 2 of the same watch. The bezel action has also been tightened up as well. It's a bit more clicky rather than sort of, it's a bit light at the moment with the version 1, but version 2 has been improved. Version 2 is also slightly thinner. That wasn't a complaint I had, but they still went ahead and reduced the thickness of the watch. The thing that I'm still not a huge fan of are things that basically are holdovers from the fact that this is an homage of the Doxa. That really small amount of loom on the hour hand means at night time, if you wake up in the middle of the night, you don't really know what time it is, if I'm honest. The loom quality is excellent. The loomed date wheel and the actual fact that the date is slightly off to the left rather than in the center has also been fixed in version 2. Basically anything that I could have asked them to fix, they've already gone ahead and done it. So big thanks to Seestern and to Pascal for sending this one in to us. Hopefully you've enjoyed the review. If you have, make sure to be liked, comment and subscribe to the channel. I have been your host DK. This has been the Watchtower Watch Reviews, and I will see you guys next time.